Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. Special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder, you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot and Media. It appears several cabinet ministers will have to find thousands of dollars to pay for mobile phone bills their ministries may have already paid. This after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that mobile phone bills for cabinet ministers will now be capped and that once a cap is decided, his ministers will have to hand over the difference. That decision was made after an emergency cabinet meeting on Tuesday after TVJ News revealed through an access to information request phone bills running as high as over $8 million. And action will be taken today in response to instructions issued by Prime Minister Andrew Holness for new arrangements to be introduced for cell phone assigned to government ministers. At a meeting yesterday, Mr. Holness mandated Technology Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley to enter into discussions with telecommunications providers to devise standard cell phone and data packages for members of his cabinet. Dr. Wheatley said that process would have started this morning.
We're in contact with the telecoms to see how we can engage them in a discussion as to how to approach this problem as it relates to especially data package for the ministers as instructed by the Prime Minister. But I want to use the opportunity to note that the government before having recognized that communication is a critical part of government, that we are looking to improve on what we term governance. We want to roll out our governance to ease the communication between and reduce the cost of communication between the government's MDAs.
He disclosed that another measure is also being looked at to minimize the cell phone cost of government ministers.
CUG package throughout government to ensure that we have a more uniform CUG package so that it reduces the cost as well as the communication between the different MDAs.
The police are yet to establish a motive for the contract-style killing of well-known businessman Richard Ramdale. Mr. Ramdale, whose family operates Ramdale Auto Sales and Accessories on Beechwood Avenue in St. Andrew, was shot along Ruthven Road yesterday afternoon. Reports are that shortly after 5 o'clock, 2 men in a white Toyota Camry motorcar, which was parked on Ruthven Road, alighted from the vehicle and opened fire on Mr. Ramdale, who was driving a dark blue Mercedes-Benz. Mr. Ramdale was shot several times in the upper body. The men fled. Mr. Ramdale was pronounced dead at hospital. The police yesterday found the burnt body of a man near Mount George, Yalas in St. Thomas. It was burnt beyond recognition. The police suspect that the body to be that of a man who had been missing since Thursday. Tests are to be carried out shortly to ascertain the identity. A car which was owned by the missing man was found in bushes in the Yalas Hills. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation says $40 million has been set aside to carry out major drain cleaning in various communities. The annual program, which started in May, is aimed at reducing flooding. Kingston's Mayor, Delroy Williams, made the disclosure at yesterday's monthly meeting of the Municipal Corporation. Mr. Williams said drains in Harborview and Bull Bay, as well as along Spanish Town Road, have already been cleaned. And Mayor of Kingston, Senator Delroy Williams, says the plan to install cameras in strategic locations in the municipality is progressing. The mayor said this initiative would offer some level of safety in the parish, especially in those areas with high commercial activity. He believes these cameras will help in the fight against crime.
In real time, they would be able to get in touch with first responders to alert them to suspicious behavior within strategic locations in the city. So they might be able to say there is a person on King Street in a red shirt with a backpack whose behavior is suspicious, and first responders could get to the scene and to either prevent or catch someone in the process.
Mr. Williams did not give an estimate for the cost of the project, but said it is currently being evaluated. The mayor said the KSAMC also plans to increase the presence of police personnel in the municipality, adding that it will create order in the city.
We believe that we need to have them consistently present at various locations, key locations in the city. So we will be discussing the issue of training and some other issues with the minister and the commissioner. And as we work together, we have a responsibility to maintain order in the city.
He was speaking at the KSAMC monthly council meeting yesterday. The Housing Agency of Jamaica, HAJ, presented more than 100 titles to landowners in Norwood, St. James recently. Chairman of HAJ, Norman Brown, stated that he is hoping that the agency will disburse at least 1,500 more titles to residents of Montego Bay.
We will try our endeavor best. There is always room for improvement, but we are going to be pushing, because my service on the board lasts 2 years, and I am endeavoring to get as much titles into the people of Montego Bay hands as possible before I leave office.
Speaking at the handing over ceremony, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Dr. Horace Chang, said the government is working to improve infrastructure and to transform informal communities in the parish. He said the government will review policies to put in place substantial programs, and these programs will be adequately funded to ensure that the Housing Trust constructs affordable houses for workers. This will allow the provision of titles to residents of informal communities.
0%, and we can it can get up to 5.5 million, and maybe a grant on top of that to buy a home. It means building more homes like the ones we are building at Friendship now, which costs about $4.5 million, and the mortgage for that is just about $10,000 a month for those workers at $12,000 a week.
He says this will mean that the average worker in Jamaica will now be able to own a home. In an effort to improve Jamaica's craft sector, the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO, have contracted an overseas company to refine the artistic talent of craft makers. Ziacom Consultants has been hired to devise a plan that will assess the skills training gap as well as the necessary financing and structure of the Craft Development Institute, CDI, to be operated by the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. At the contract signing with Ziacom, Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett lamented that craft sold locally was mainly imported from China, noting that modern tourists want locally made products.
The people who come here don't want anything made outside of here. They want things that are made in Jamaica, authentically Jamaican produce. As part of this strategy to grow the tourism industry, and by extension to grow the economy, we established 5 pillars of growth, one of which is the renewal of the human capital, the expansion, the building of the human capacity, the enablement, yes, of our people to produce more, to give more, and to be able to extract more from tourism.
The craft school, to be based in Ocho Rios, will train practicing artisans as well as students entering a degree program and facilitate the assessment and certification of artisans in collaboration with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The ministry wants to launch the institute in the first half of 2018. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Employers Federation, JEF, is currently conducting a workshop promoting economic development through international business linkages in the tourism sector. At the first of the series of workshops this week, JEF President David Wan explained the program's focus on the tourism sector.
Well, it accounts for 30% of our GDP. So 3 out of every $10 changing hands in Jamaica is tourism related. It is very important. We are grateful for the collaboration with the ILO for this effort to bolster the industry and encourage sustainable business practices.
President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Helen Davis White, says while there is general support for foreign investment in Jamaica and realizing the Vision 2030 plan, there is always concern and encouragement that these employers will adhere to labor guidelines in Jamaica.
And so what we want coming out of the involvement of these multinational enterprises are fair wages, and certainly from the point of view of the trade unions, free collective bargaining, because very often persons believe that and companies believe that the only way that they can achieve profitability is if they suppress workers' wages and interests and demands. And we are saying that that is not the way to go in Jamaica.
Tourism Director Paul Pennycook is encouraging more young persons to become ambassadors for tourism. Mr. Pennycook says Jamaica's relationship with the diaspora was critical to the Jamaican economy, with remittances as at March 2017 accounting for $180 million. Speaking at the official launch of the 2017 Grace Kennedy Jamaican Birthright Program, Mr. Pennycook noted that now, more than ever, it is important to foster brand Jamaica ambassadors.
The diaspora has always been an important market segment for tourism in Jamaica. In 2016, we had a 7.7% increase in arrivals of non-resident Jamaicans, which translates to 161,000 people. In addition, the PIOJ have indicated that remittances for the same year were at $2.3 billion, a gain of 2.9%. over 2015.
It is also expected that the ambassadors will spread their experiences on the island through social media and other digital platforms.
The trends are very clear, and we have no choice but to recognize the importance that experiential marketing through influencers will have on the future of travel and tourism. At the forefront of this are young persons like yourselves, who share their experiences on the many digital platforms to get that like, that share, or that comment.
The Grace Kennedy Jamaica Birthright Program will see 4 university students of Jamaican parentage intern at the company in the hopes of becoming ambassadors in their respective countries. And it's time now to look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at pink eye, also known as conjunctivitis.
Pink eye is actually a blanket term which is used to refer to conjunctivitis, which is an inflammation of the lining of the eye. That's the lining over the white part and the lining on the inside of the eyelids. The name pink eye comes about because when it's inflamed, it becomes red, and hence the color of the eye changes and it's called pink eye. The conjunctivitis may be caused by a number of things. It may be caused by bacteria, may be caused by viruses, or it may be caused by allergies.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Practice good hygiene to control the spread of pink eye. For instance, don't touch your eyes with your hands. Wash your hands often. Don't share towels or washcloths. Change your pillowcases often. Don't share eye cosmetics or personal eye care items. And avoid using swimming pools that may not be adequately treated.
And we go down to sports. Richard Frog Holmes will be seeking to make his third consecutive Ray and Nephew Contender Series final when he faces Canada's #1 Phil the Assassin Rose in Wednesday's second semi-final for the junior middleweight belt at the Mico University.
Having lost to Kemal Hitman Russell in a 6th round TKO in the 2015 final for the middleweight title, a year later the 29-year-old Richard Frog Holmes was beaten by the world-rated DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley in a 7th round TKO for the welterweight belt. So the bruising gym boxer is shaping up for a 3rd consecutive final against Canadian Phil Rose. The hard-hitting Frog Holmes has lost only 2 out of 8 fights in the last 2 years of the Contender Series in 3 weight divisions. And the Jamaican has promised one thing.
Because I know from I entered the competition, I know I was going to be there. And this year I'm going to be the #1 contender. Beat up the kid and send him home back. He's like that. 1, 2, 3. Every boxer expects to be in good shape. So nothing unless he's in good shape. Yes, I'm in good shape too, so let's prove it in the ring, you know. The better man, and I'm better man.
The 35-year-old Rose is contesting his 3rd fight in 2 years, with 2 of those fights coming in the Contender Series. His record stands at 8 wins, 4 losses, and a draw with 5 knockouts, and he plans to outbox his Jamaican opponent.
Like I've said in the past, I got to do what I've been trained to do, and I've been training very hard for this fight. I've been in this game for a long time, so I'm just going to bring the best Phil on that night. I fought people with power and with people with speed as well, so I just got to take my time and box smart. If opportunities are there for me to take advantage of that, then I'll take advantage of the situation.
At Tuesday's weigh-in, Holmes tipped the scale at 153 pounds, 1 pound heavier than Rose. Holmes' trainer Carl Grant and Rose's conditioner Don Nelson are both pleased with the state of readiness of their boxers coming into Wednesday's contest.
I'm happy with that weight, maintain the weight and strong in the fight coming tomorrow.
I've had Phil for 21 years. I've been training Phil since he was 14 years old, and this is the hardest I've seen him work in his whole life. So he's working hard for this fight. I've never seen him push himself this hard. I've never seen him this dedicated. I've never seen his skills this good. So he's ready.
2015 Contender Series champion DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley will once again showcase his skills in Jamaica, this time against Ramel Sub-Zero Lewis in a 5-round welterweight undercard contest. With 78 fights in his career, Corley is planning to take the Jamaican to school.
I don't know much about Sub-Zero. I don't think he's a young fighter like Michael Gardner was, but I'm pretty sure he has done his homework and he's prepared for whatever I bring to the table. A little bit of schooling, a little bit of teaching, but I'm going to make it a great fight. I'm not in the Contender Series, so I just want to put on a great show for the crowd.
Well, that motivation is like fighting this good fighter will bring me back on top just like that. So I have to take this fighter. He's a very good fighter, and he's a fighter I always want to fight.
TVJ will have live coverage starting at 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday.
Okay. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of our news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.